When Mom started the business in 1988, I was going away to Missoula to school.
Davidson Designs.
Working summers and vacations and that at the store.
Well, Bill, your timing is impeccable.
So when the buying trips would come, we would go to High Point, North Carolina, the international market. That was our major market at that time. We would meet in Denver or wherever the connection was, and she would take me with on those trips. She'd been many times before, but to me it was this whole new world, and just the intricacies of trying to figure out what's going to sell in Billings, Montana was amazing for me to watch and learn. There were very few mother-daughter buying teams at market. In our industry, there's a lot of father-sons, and at that time, that's what we saw. So the reps and different people that we encountered at market, they were always kind of in awe of, oh, it's a mother-daughter. And it was kind of cool to be that, where there weren't so many there. She and I were there for one reason, to keep this store going, to keep Mom's dream alive, and to make something of it. Our egos were checked at the door. I think that sometimes father-son, that can get a little bit in the way. With Mom and I, it never did. We just had one goal in mind. Now I see there are a lot of mother-daughter teams, and I love seeing that at market, and you can pick them out. You can just tell who they are. Market was definitely a bonding experience for us. It was just the two of us. I have other sisters, and they weren't necessarily interested in the business. To some degree, they all worked in it a little bit, but my sisters all had different paths that they took. Tricia had 4 beautiful boys that now have, oh goodness, we have so many great nieces and nephews now. Tamra moved to Norway and has 2 beautiful sons there, and she's been there for a long time. So she never really kind of got into the business, but that was just because of location. And Tracy went down the path of working with Head Start and nonprofits, and they all had different paths to take. For me, I remember watching Mom build this business and thinking, this can't go away. This has to go on, and one of us needs to do it. And not that it was a thing I felt I had to do. When I started working here, I grew to love it right away. Absolutely love it. And luckily I got Mom's eye, I think. And so definitely that made a big difference. So to have the two of us together and to be moving from a mother-daughter to business partners was a very interesting experience. When you think about it, we're almost 35 years old, and I've spent almost every day of that side by side with Mom until the last 2 years when she retired. So the difference from going to mom and daughter to going to people who work together all the time, you really have to work at that. You have to be able to disagree on something and then get over it right away and keep on going. I just stood back in awe as I watched her start in this tiny little boutique store, and within no time at all she was expanding. And then later we moved across the street into this location, really starting with nothing. She was able to build something that's still here today. Just seeing the guts that took, I don't think I would have done it. I would be scared to death to do that, and yet she did it, and it was her dream to do it. And I think that's such a big pull for me that I want to make her proud, and I want to keep it going for as long as I can, and just use the strength that I gained from her, just the knowledge, the wisdom. I now am in her office here and sitting at her desk, and it's very funny. There's many times when I sit there thinking, oh my gosh, I'm my mother. And then I think, thank God I'm my mother. It really, it makes such a big difference. One of the biggest lessons I learned from Mom was relationship selling. In what we do, you have to know the person, know the family, know how they live. Sometimes I think we're kind of like a hairdresser, that people will tell us things sometimes that we don't even want to know. But our job is to figure out how they live in their home, what's important to them, what's important to their family. And as you do that process, you can't help but start caring about these people. You get to know them, and they get to know you, and they get to trust you because they know you care about them and their project. That, I think, is the key to what we do. People have to know that they're not just coming into somebody who is just a sales clerk. I'm a person who I want their home to be a refuge. I want their home to be a place that they love to come home to. When I started, I was very businesslike. Well, I was very nervous. I was young. And so I always thought I had to try 10 times harder to get people to listen to me and to trust me because I was so young. And that took a lot of work. But I watched my mom, and then when my dad came to the business, he has such a way with words and people. He would come out and talk to the customer when they walked in. And by the time he got back to me to tell me that someone was here to see me, he could tell me how many kids they had, what their job was, where they were born. That to me was priceless, because I think that's why people keep coming back to Davidson Designs, is that they know that when they walk in the door, I'm going to know their name, I'm going to remember them, and that I appreciate them coming. 2 years ago, when Mom was going to retire, I was terrified. I thought, oh, she's my partner. This is our family business. What am I going to do if I don't have family? And the beautiful thing was that my dear friend Kara was always in the back of my mind, as we had talked about. Our mothers as friends had talked about, oh, maybe Tiff and Kara should do something someday. And the timing was totally divine. And I remember driving home one night thinking, it's Kara. I need Kara here.
We're in the wrong room, but that could work between the two chairs to do it.
We've basically picked up where Mom and I left off. We can get upset about something and walk away and come back and be fine.
So what if
We bounce things off of each other beautifully. It's a great connection that, oh, I'm so thankful for it, because I feel like it's still a family business. That was the one thing I was worried about, is I didn't want to lose that. It really was meant to be. It couldn't have worked out more perfectly. And now we have other people working here with us that are wonderful, and I feel like Kara and I are both mentors to them. They're younger, and I hope that we're teaching them and showing them not just about design and selling, but about just how to be in the business place and how to do that relationship selling and growing as women. Thinking back about the home furnishings market in Billings in the 80s compared to where we are now, Billings was a very traditional city. Back then, the traditional style was so huge, and we had the sofa, the matching end tables with the matching brass lamps, and everything was so coordinated, so put together and matchy, and things were so formal back then. You had the formal living room, kids not allowed. Now everything is built around the great room concept, where everything is the living space, nothing's off limits. And it has to reflect that. The things we do have to be comfortable and easy to clean, and we don't want our kids to not feel like they can live in the house, like they can't climb on the furniture, because they're going to. So I think the relaxed atmosphere of what we do is very different from back when we opened our store. The items we carry, we don't really want to match anything anymore. We want it to be very eclectic and be a reflection of who we are, where we've traveled. We want it to be different. We don't want our house to look like our friends down the street. So the challenge in that, when we go on our buying trips and when we're trying to place the right things in the store, is to find unique things that not everybody's going to have. It's like selecting art. You love it, the next person might think it's terrible. It's very, very personal. But the most important part is that it's something that you saw and that you fell in love with. So finding those pieces is a huge challenge, because there's not a lot of unique and different one-of-a-kind out there. You really have to seek it. I think in finding those pieces, you just have to learn how to hunt for them and think outside the box, and you have to take the risk. There are things where I remember buying with Mom, I would pick some crazy art piece that I just thought was so funky. And Mom would say, oh my gosh, okay, well you have to sell it. And that was our deal. And now with Kara and I, that's our deal too, that whoever insists on buying it, we have to sell it. And the great thing is we always do. We find that right home. And I think you have to buy what you love, because then you can sell it. If you're buying things that you're not excited about, you're not going to be able to sell it to that person. I find it really easy to sell the things that I think are great and different, because I think my excitement spills over to them and they realize that, hey, you know, I can take a chance and do something different. It'll be okay. So that's what I try to do, is find those great pieces that I can be excited about and sell to the right customer. One of the biggest things I learned from Mom in the beginning and watched her do so beautifully was working with clients. We always said from the ground up, where they would come with their dreams of what they wanted their home to be, and maybe at that time they'd have a floor plan, maybe not. There were times when we helped develop the floor plan. A lot of times now we get the floor plan and we tweak it. We help them go through it as if they're living there already. We cook a meal in the kitchen was one thing Mom taught me to do, where you would walk through that kitchen and think, okay, if I have to go from point A to B, I don't want it to be too far away. Thinking through your light switches. Where would I naturally go to turn on the light in this room? That was the role that we always played in the beginning stages with the builders and architects, because they had the big picture in mind, and our job was to get down to the little details, those tiny things like a light switch. And that was where I could really see the whole idea of a team develop in working with builders and architects and the client, is that we all brought something to the table. And in the beginning, that was something I think that Mom struggled with a lot. They didn't always see what she was bringing to the party. I think they looked at her a little bit as, oh, the designer's gonna come in and mess it up and cause problems. And I know they did. And then as times evolved and as Mom showed them time and time again, I watched her prove to them her value. And I could see it in the meetings where they'd look at her like, oh, wow, I didn't think of that. And every time that happened, that was a little victory. And now I'm happy to say that builders even have designers on staff now. They appreciate it that much. They get what we do. And I've never approached it as coming in to change things up. I've always looked at it as maybe I can find a little way to improve on that. The teamwork thing is huge, that all the projects we've done where we've had a good team in place have turned out beautifully, and the clients couldn't be more happy. They tell us that every single person that worked on this made it what it is. So it's priceless to have all of those people come together and realize that we're all there for one reason, and nobody's the standout. We all have different ideas, and we make it work, and it's all for the benefit of the client. You get to know these people, and a lot of times you get to love these people. And one of my first jobs, what really taught me about knowing the client, caring about the client, and caring about what I do, it was a tough one. It was actually a friend of mine from high school, and his mother came to us and asked us to redo his bedroom in our home because he was coming home to die. And that was hard. That was really hard to do. We talked it through. We asked her what she thought he would want, how to create the most serene, just wonderful, comfortable place for him. And that, I talk about getting your feet wet all at once. That was hard. But I look back at that, and that was the right way to start out in this business, was to figure out that it was all about caring about the person and caring about that environment I was creating. We're still Montana, and I think that's the biggest thing to me, is that being born and raised here especially, I know people and I know families, and now my clients, their children are now coming to me to do their homes, which that is really fun. And when I got married, my sweet husband learned right away that we only buy flowers here, we only get our jewelry here, because those are the family businesses that have been around forever. And I think that's my biggest thing that I love about Billings, is that we're still, it feels big, but we're not. We're still a community that cares about each other, cares about supporting local businesses. There's just a lot of great things about Billings. What I'm most proud of is that our business is still here today. That basically we started on so little, and every single little victory. I remember we had a van as our delivery truck for a long time. Dad and I would deliver sofas out of the back of a minivan. And the day that we were able to sign the papers and get our actual delivery truck was huge. To most people, that's probably a very small victory, but to us, I just remember the tears, Mom and I in tears, hugging each other, going, oh, we've got a delivery truck. We're something. We made it. And then the ability to move across the street here to double our size, going through the few years there that were really hard for everybody. I always say that God's our silent partner, and that's why we're here, because we did it together. I remember one time when it was particularly scary, thinking, oh, I hope we can make it. And I went to Barnes & Noble seeking out a book, of course, something that would give me the answers. What can we do to make sure that we can pull through the years of this trouble? And there was nothing. What I found was that the book I needed was my Bible, that every page has something that tells me, you're not alone, you can do this. It just has played a huge part, and it helps me every day also with what I do, how I treat people, how I want them to feel when they come here. I think your faith just shines through. I hope that it shines through, and that's, I don't know, it's just what keeps me going. Yeah.